Hello and welcome to Segments with Mark and Amber. Segments is a comedy podcast where in each episode, Amber and I choose a topic and we talk about it in a variety of segments. My name is Mark, and with me as always is my ride or die. It is Amber.
Hello.
Hello, Amber. How's it going?
I'm doing good.
You're doing great.
I wonder if anybody guessed from that intro our topic. This is episode 48, and we are talking about cars.
Okay. I don't often hear about ride or die in cars.
No, but
it's like you are riding.
Yeah, exactly.
In Big Brother, there's a lot of ride or die in Big Brother.
There is.
And it seems to switch who the ride or die is.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're talking about. I mean, people would probably be super psyched if we were talking about BB.
You know, I would be.
But no, yes, correct, Amber. We are talking about cars.
So the format of today's show is that we're going to do some feedback and some what's making us happy, and then we're going to talk about our top 5 cars in pop culture, segment 1, and segment 2 is a cool car quotes quiz.
Wow, I'm very excited, and what's very special about this quiz is that I didn't come up with it. Amber came up with it from the depths of her mental prowess.
Yeah, it was 100% inspired by the types of amazing quizzes that you come up with.
Oh, you're very sweet. When you were talking about feedback, do you remember way back in the early days of segments?
Yes.
When we used to do pre-back?
I do remember that.
That was fun. We should bring pre-back back sometime.
Pre-back. So pre-back was when we would ask for feedback about the topic we were going to talk about in the future episode.
Oh, right.
The next episode.
So
at the end of each episode, we'd say, next episode, we're going to talk about blah, blah, blah. What's your take on that?
Yeah. We could do pre-back about
Harry
Goblet of
Potter.
Fire.
Oh, we do know for sure that we're talking about Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, assuming we read the last several hundred pages in each of our
I'm feeling pretty
books.
good about it. I'm driving around a lot now, and I re-listened to a good 10 chapters with you, and so there's a certain section of the book that I know real well, but I'm excited about getting into the Goblet of Fire. It's been great.
Yep. So in episode 47, we did say that our next episode was Harry Potter. This one's not. This is Cars.
Yeah. So all the Dursleys out there can be excited that this is not a Harry Potter episode. This is an episode where we're talking about vehicles. Well, cars.
Cars, specifically.
Yeah.
If you want to contact us, leave feedback, pre-back, corrections, apologies, any of that good stuff, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter by searching SegmentsCast. You could also email us, segmentscast@gmail.com.
All right. And we did get some great feedback. Looks like my mom, friend of the show, Barb, she said, she's responding to Laura. She said, I too knew Thomas Paine, and I laughed out loud twice at Amber's auctioneer impression. You know what? So I don't recall ever hearing Thomas Paine's name prior to that episode. But I did love your auctioneer impression, and as listeners to last week's episode know, it was hilarious in the midst of it, and then I also used it as the outro.
Yeah.
I almost always use quotes from you in the outro. I think you're the funny one.
I'm the Jessie Carey of this podcast.
You're the Jessie Carey, correct. So thanks, Mom, for that feedback.
My mom had said, I just want to say this Dursley knew the answer Thomas Paine. So that was part of our Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader quiz. Mm-hmm. And then she said, we're not all bad, but I don't know how to spell Dursley. So we declared that people who are not appreciating our Harry Potter book and movie discussions are going to be termed Dursleys by us.
Correct.
And our moms are okay with that.
Yeah, they are. And my mom and your mom are together. My mom wrote, Dursleys unite. I'll be happy when the Harry Potter books are finished.
My mom said, amen.
Yeah, like that's some sort of a prayer.
Yeah,
yes.
We love our moms so much, and they are some of our biggest supporters, so it's okay that they don't.
Probably our biggest supporters. They're right
Very
up there.
faithful.
Absolutely.
They listen to each episode multiple times and help spike our numbers.
That's right. And if they would just listen to them about 10,000 times each, that would really help.
That would really help.
So, and then a friend of the show, my friend Carolyn, brought some feedback from Instagram. She said, I've been a little behind listening, so I got to listen to several episodes on the long drive to Arizona. Love it.
Yay.
And I love Carolyn. She so one son goes to school out in Arizona, but her other son just started Ferris this year, where our lovely daughter goes.
I didn't know that. Cool.
Yeah. So they were up there around, I think the day after we were up there moving Emma in. So there you go.
Coming up next, what's making us happy? What's making you happy, Mark?
Well, Amber, what's making me happy is that today I discovered that my good Taylor 714 guitar was not stolen.
Yay!
That was the good news. And
You've discovered that almost every other day, too. But
That's true, but I also discovered that my inexpensive kind of knockoff Telecaster does seem to have been stolen from the church overnight.
Terrible.
Which is very, very sad. They seem to have gotten through a window, and they were able to get away with a large bag of chips and my guitar. They're the only two things that I could tell that they had taken.
Weird.
Yeah, and so I think it was just hooligans or a hooligan.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of good stuff, and if you wanted to steal something valuable, there's a lot of valuable stuff there.
Now you can't. Now we're locked down tight.
It's all locked down tight. Do you think they're using this podcast to case the?
I mean, possibly.
Could be.
We've taken all the good stuff home.
It's
We've
not
stationed a ferocious guard dog.
And listener, if you are the thief, please don't come back, or just send my guitar back. There will be no presses charged. There will be no presses charged.
And that's a guarantee.
That's a guarantee. So what's making me happy? My good stuff wasn't stolen. That's kind of a cheap one. I got another one. I got another thing that's making me happy. Have you ever heard of a little television show, Amber, by the name of Blacklist?
I've heard of it, yes.
Well, my boss told me about it, and he does not watch TV. I've maybe heard him talk about one other show that he's watched. And he's like, I liked it. It was really good. And so I had a night, you were off doing something, and had just the night free. And so I was like, oh, let me check this out. And it's really good. It's got James Spader in it. And
I do
some
like him.
other people that I don't know. I don't know. It's a little bit violent.
Yeah.
It's a network show, so it's not like Game of Thrones or something like that.
Oh, goodness.
But it is a little bit violent, and there's a lot of parts that I can't look at or I need to mute. And word on the street has it that kind of tones down.
Yeah.
As the seasons progress, which I'm hoping for, but it's very interesting. It's
Yeah.
very good. So I'm enjoying that. A television show called The Blacklist.
Well, good.
There you go. That's what's making me happy. Amber, what's making you happy?
Well, we're back to school, and as many of our listeners know, I'm a preschool director and teacher. And a couple of weeks ago, I was shocked to hear that one of my assistant teacher that works with me got a new job.
Wah, wah.
A lot of times that's how it works in the education field, is that
All
jobs
fields.
pop up in August and people leave, but it's right before the school year starts. It's very bad timing. It was really
timing.
frustrating and scary, and I'm the one who does the job postings and sets up interviews and talks to people and does background checks and references. Like, that's all on me, and that's not necessarily something I do frequently. It'd been 4 years since I'd had to do that. So it was a little freaky, but we ended up getting 5 candidates to interview in about a week and a half. I honestly felt like I could have worked with any of them. Mm-hmm. It was definitely answered prayer to get so many potential candidates, but we had this one girl who literally had every qualification that she would need to just walk in the room and start teaching. She didn't need any additional training. She had all the certifications and background checks that she needed, and she's really sweet. She's a really nice fit,
Nice.
and I'm happy that we found her. So
That's great.
it's a big relief, and it'll be different starting the year with somebody who doesn't already know my patterns and my routines, but it seems like she's really flexible and happy to be there. So I think it's going to be good.
That sounds fantastic. Well, good job. What else we got going on here, Amber?
Well, last time we put it out to the public. We said, hey, what's making you happy, listeners? We can share what other people also find delightful.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. So our friend Justin Dumois, or maybe we don't use last names. Our friend Justin,
We do have a lot of friends named Justin.
That's true. Justin D said what's making him happy right now is an animated history videos on the Extra Credits YouTube channel.
Interesting. I wonder if that's part of like YouTube Red or just YouTube. Is anything on YouTube a YouTube channel? Well, people have a channel.
We have a YouTube channel,
Yeah.
Amber.
Okay.
The Segments YouTube channel. It's where
All
you
right.
post your videos. So animated history videos. So I've heard of drunk history, but I've not heard of animated history. So I'll have to check that out. He also said he's enjoying a podcast detailing the events of the French Revolution, simply titled Revolutions. So I thought that was our podcast, but this one's Revolutions.
We haven't detailed the events. Maybe our top 5 moments in the French Revolution. We could do that
That
one
would be
time.
fun. We could bring Justin on. He'd have a lot of exciting input there.
Yeah, both of his things that he likes makes me feel like he's smart.
He's smarter than us, and that's fine.
He's more interested in smart things than I am.
Yeah, but we're interested in things.
Justin, have you heard of Big Brother?
In some ways, it's like the French Revolution.
I mean, every year it's a different one.
That's exactly.
Yeah. Your mom, friend of the show, Barb, said fallish weather is making her happy. Me too. And she said, I'm looking forward to one more camping trip at the end of September.
Wow, one more trip.
Hopefully Michigan weather will give her some actual fall. We've had our fake fall where we had a couple days that were slightly cooler and everybody broke out their sweaters and their jackets, and now it's going to be real hot again next week. So we'll just see. This podcast we're recording a little early. So maybe by the time you hear it, we'll be in real fall.
That'd be
You
nice.
can hope.
We can hope. Friend of the show, Adam said, surprising the boys with a trip to Cedar Point is making me happy. Well, that's
yes.
fun. I love Cedar Point.
For sure.
We haven't gone in, I don't know, 10 years.
Our kids aren't really into it.
No, they're not into it.
I think Emma
You're
is.
not into it.
No, not anymore. I don't want to die and it makes me feel sick.
I wonder if Adam would ever surprise me with a trip to Cedar Point.
It wouldn't be a surprise.
It would be.
Hey, Mark, we're going today. Let's go. Friend of the show, Kurt, said that for him, it's his Join the Shark Side shirt that he's wearing. So I wish we could see it. I'm sure it's like a Join the Dark Side.
Join the Shark Side. I love that.
Shark Side. He's a Star Wars fan like us.
That's right. Well, I'm preaching at the Nichols campus next week. So, Kurt, if you're listening to this, wear your Shark Side shirt, please.
I mean, he did wear it today, so it'd be 2 Sundays in a row. But
you
what could go wrong?
I mean, you can wash clothes.
I know. But you get judged.
Do you?
You don't wear the same thing 2 weeks in a row.
You don't?
No.
I have.
Oh, not to church.
I don't know.
No, that's a safe place. No one's going to judge you there. That's what I meant to say.
I didn't. Yeah, I never. Yeah, I mean, I've thought about it. I'm like, did I wear this shirt?
Yeah,
you're
just
right.
not 2 weeks in a row.
You're right. Okay.
No.
Never mind. Correct. Amber, we've got our friend here, and I'm just going to ask her a question. Alexa, tell us a car joke.
Why couldn't Captain Kirk move his car? He'd left the gear shift in the neutral zone.
Is there a neutral zone in Star Trek?
The neutral zone. I don't know. We'll have to ask your mom about that.
Maybe it's like in between the Federation and the Borg or something.
Yeah,
The neutral
the
zone. It's like
neutral
the
zone.
Switzerland of space.
All right. Well, if you are a Star Trek fan and you know what the neutral zone is, if you could just send your feedback, that would be fantastic. So we just have 2 segments. So I thought I'm going to bring Alexa up into the room. It's hard. It's challenging because she just lit up and she's looking at me.
Our friend. If we say our friend,
friend.
that's who we're talking about.
Our friend A. And I thought, well, we'll just ask her some car jokes periodically through the episode, and if they're that good, it's going to bring a real hoot. It's gonna
Man.
bring a real hoot.
Dry your eyes, catch your breath. We're moving on to segment 1.
So good. Segment 1. Top 5 cars in pop culture. All right, Amber, well, I'm very excited about this. It was this idea that we stumbled on somehow, and I was like, man, are we going to be able to pull this off? We're not really car folks.
No.
Ends up, I had 18
Wow.
different things on my list. And before we jump in, I'm just going to give you some of my honorable mentions that did not make my list. And I'm pretty sure these didn't make your list, so I don't think they're...
Well, if you say any of them, I'm just going to... If it's just an honorable mention, I'm not going to jump in.
Okay, this one's not on there. You remember MASK? I talk about MASK every once in a while.
Yeah.
Mobile Armored Strike Command.
With a K?
And there was my favorite one, like kind of the main one, was Thundercracker, which was this car, but I loved this motorcycle called Condor that turned into a helicopter.
Okay.
Very cool. The Mystery Machine. I loved the Mystery Machine, right? It was all about those guys, those sleuths.
The evil Scooby-Doos.
Yeah, the good Scooby-Doo.
I'm just
you
saying
couldn't
the
watch.
show in general.
And there was a show called Scooby-Doo, and it was about these friends that were paranormal investigators.
Okay.
The Chips motorcycles. They were very close.
Yeah.
But they weren't cars. And that's a great show.
Yep.
Let's see if I have another one here that is an honorable mention. Magnum PI's Ferrari.
Oh, I thought of that.
Yeah, I love that. And then the Jetsons Aero car. Now that
Okay.
one didn't have wheels.
No, but it was definitely it was their version of car.
It was their version of car, and it was super cool. I really liked the Jetsons as a kid because that was, I mean, obviously the Jetsons was from before our time.
Yeah.
But we would see the reruns and all the futuristic and the Rosie, the robot maid,
Yeah.
and the anytime Amber calls me, it's the goes boom 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 boom, and then I know it's Amber and not
Yeah.
some other schlub calling me.
Not some other schlub. I feel like with the something happened with the Jets. I mean, they were like the space Flintstones.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched Flintstones every episode multiple times. I feel like I never missed a Flintstones. And the Jetsons was like, I'll watch it if I have to.
Really?
And I don't know why.
I feel like you would have really liked kind of there's the kind of teenage daughter
I know,
kind of teeny
Judy,
bot,
yeah.
Judy, and I think you would have really liked her. And
I know.
Astro, the dog.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's something about it. I just didn't. Maybe
Worked at
another
Spacely
show came on at
Sprockets.
the same time.
That could have been.
Maybe Monchichis or something was on another channel, and I had to
Something
flip over.
Something more up your alley.
Yeah, I just feel like I didn't watch that anywhere near as much. I can certainly picture all the things, but it wasn't as precious to me as the Flintstones.
Okay, well, there you go. Well, Amber, I'm excited, and I would love it if you began our countdown tonight.
All right. Well, my number 5 car in pop culture that kind of had an impact on me could be on your list, the A-Team van.
The A-Team van, Amber, it is on my list.
I thought it might be.
So,
Is it
no.
your number 5?
It is not my number 5. It's my number 4.
Oh,
So let's
okay.
talk about the A-Team.
Okay. So I picked that because it's definitely heavy in nostalgia for me. That was a big show for my family. And I remember really clearly listening to the theme song, and kind of we had these couches downstairs and kind of like standing on the couches, like hovering and waiting for the theme song to really kick in. Bum, ba, bum, ba, bum, bum. So first they do kind of a talky thing. Yes. They do a little narration about how these guys all escaped from some jail or something, and then the theme song just bursts in. And in my mind, I remembered that being like the van screaming by with the door open and somebody jumping in or jumping out, and us mimicking that by jumping off the couch. But I rewatched the theme song today, and that was not part of it. In fact, the van was not even in the theme song at all.
Really? That's very interesting.
But it was a big part of the show.
Can you remember the 4 members of the A-Team?
I can now because I just watched it.
Oh, you did it. Okay. Hannibal,
Yeah.
Face, Murdoch, who was my favorite, and B.A. No,
B.A..
it was
Yeah.
B.A. Baracus.
Yeah. So there's a couple things I saw about the van when I Googled it. It is a black and metallic gray GMC Vandura van. A lot of people, they said, missed that the top part above the red stripe was actually painted a metallic gray. But even the toys were not correct. It was
Yeah,
meant to be a really dark gray. I watched it and I did not see.
It's very dark gray.
So I looked up the toys, and the only one we had was the Hot Wheel.
Okay.
The A-Team Hot Wheel.
I'm sure we had the Hot Wheel.
Then there was also some continuity issues. They definitely had more than one van based on different stunts. And there was one episode where Face jumps from the top of the building to the roof of the van, and there's no sunroof. But then moments later, in an interior shot, Face climbs in through the sunroof.
Oh.
So he jumps onto the van and then climbs in through a sunroof.
They weren't as worried about continuity in the 80s. That was not a big thing. We used our imagination.
Yeah.
You know? What I loved about the A-Team, Amber, was just the action. They're like you said, right? They're on the run from the law, but they're the good guys. And so somehow you would contact them to come help you, but then that meant the army was getting, I don't know what happened. It was crazy. And I remember getting my driver's license, and my family, I believe at that time, had a Ford Astro minivan.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know how many times my friends and I would play or pretend we were in the age. We weren't playing 18
Yeah.
because we were 16, 17, 18 years old. But we would drive around with the door open,
Yeah.
like hanging out
Yeah.
the side of the
Oh,
out
man.
of the door. And then,
New drivers.
and it's just like, oh, it was so fun.
Uh-huh.
And there's just something awesome about that show and all the explosions. And nobody ever really got killed.
No, I
Nobody
don't
got-
think so. I think even the bad guys walked away
Yeah.
from whatever happened.
So. That doesn't happen in the blacklist.
No.
Very few people walk away from anything.
I also always remember thinking that Hannibal was like the straight guy that had it all together. But when you watch the preview, he's like inside this weird dinosaur costume at one point, and then he's like laughing with his cigar. And I know he says, "I love it when a plan comes together." So I think as a kid, I was like, man, he's in charge. He's like the straight guy. But I think he was probably pretty funny.
Yeah, I think he was. I wonder if that show holds up.
It seems like it would.
And they also made a movie of the A-Team that I'm surprised that I never saw.
Oh, you're right. Wow.
Interesting.
And the A-Team van showed up in Ready Player One.
Oh.
With all the 80s nostalgia there.
Absolutely. Awesome.
So anyway, that's my number 5. And your number 4.
Yeah, that's right.
The A-Team van.
My number 5, Amber, and this one just squeaked onto the list, and I don't know. I just think it's so funny to me. Dr. Disrespect's Lamborghini 1990 Lamborghini Diablo VT.
Whoa.
So Dr. Disrespect is not a character that I am recommending.
Okay.
Okay? Anybody out there, don't turn this on for your kids and then leave the room. Not a good idea. But Dr. Disrespect is a Twitch streamer. And if 5 years ago you would have told me that one of my favorite things to watch is a Twitch streamer that plays PUBG and Fortnite and Apex Legends and these other shooter games, I would have said you are crazy.
So you're just sitting there watching somebody else play a video game.
Yes, and that is huge money. You got there's all sorts of people doing that. But Dr. Disrespect, it's a character. I can't remember what the guy's real name is, but the persona that he takes on and the elaborate sets and things that he has in the production value of his show is great.
Like in his real house or on his computer?
It's
it screens. You're not just looking at his computer screen. You see something in his own.
Yeah, you never see his computer screen. You see.
Okay.
Well, that's not true. When he's playing the games, you do it. But when he's doing his shtick, when he's talking to somebody else, or when he's doing one of his bits, it's like kind of green screen kind of thing where he superimposes himself, and he supposedly has this giant arena, and he's the 1992, 1993 Blockbuster video game champion, and he just has this whole bit, and he's like that. He plays this kind of classic angry, gamer that's mad. And it's just, for some reason, it is the most hilarious thing to me. And one of his bits is that he drives this 1990 Lamborghini Diablo VT, and it is just hilarious. And so it's just him. And it's just, you see the side of this car, and the windows roll down, and he's just driving, doing his shtick. And it's really funny to me.
Wow.
So I don't know. I'm trying to think of any of our listeners that would appreciate that. Can't think of any. But he's a very popular Twitch streamer, Dr. Disrespect. So that's my number 5, Amber, Dr. Disrespect, 1990 Lamborghini Diablo VT.
Cool. You knew we weren't going to have overlap on that one.
That is correct.
Well, my number 4 car in pop culture is the Griswold family station wagon.
Oh, classic.
So I looked up the make and model of that, and it is fictional. It was called the Wagon Queen Family Truckster.
Wow. So
it was actually put together by a, what do you call those people that make cars different? Like that show where you...
Custom car maker?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Heavily modified Ford LTD Country Squire wagon.
Okay.
So anyway, I don't remember. My main Griswold movie is the National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Yeah.
I've seen the regular vacation one a few times. I think I've seen the European vacation one once. I didn't like those as much, but the car first shows up in the classic National Lampoon Vacation movie.
The original.
When they're going to go to Wally World.
Correct.
And Clark actually orders a really nice, cool station wagon still, but it's not available yet, and he has to leave on the trip, and so he gets talked by the car salesman Eugene Levy into buying this one. And Eugene Levy says, "This is a darn fine automobile, if you want my honest opinion. You think you hate it now, but wait till you drive it." So it was kind of like not something he was proud of right from the beginning. And the family still has it. In my favorite Christmas Vacation movie, when they get stuck underneath the giant semi carrying the logs, and
that's awesome.
So that one it just makes me happy.
Yeah,
that's my favorite scene when they're stuck of the car is when they're stuck under the semi, and Mrs. Griswold, I'm drawing a blank on her name right at the moment. She starts praying the Lord's Prayer and singing something, and they make it out
that's
just barely to the Christmas tree farm.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that is your number 4.
My number 4, the Griswold family station wagon.
And my number 4, as we said, was already the A-Team. So I'm going to take this moment to ask
good.
our friend another question. Alexa, will you tell us a car joke?
What kind of car does Thanos drive? A Coupe de Villain.
A Coupe de Villain.
Could be any villain she could have
Yeah,
used in that joke. She
but-
was trying to be timely.
Coupe de Villain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good
Okay.
one. Hey, Amber, what's your number 3?
I guess it's me again.
Guess it's you again.
My number 3 car in pop culture would be the Bluth stair car from Arrested Development.
Now, this is an iconic pop culture car. I love it.
So if you have not watched Arrested Development, just a little pro tip, you have to start from the beginning. It's definitely a show that builds on itself.
Yes.
It's on Netflix. Lots and lots of inside jokes and private jokes, and you need to be paying attention so that you can really appreciate all the humor. It's also one that takes a few episodes, I feel like, to really get into.
You think at the end of season 3 you want a 4th or a 5th season, but you don't, and they don't exist. They're not there.
You can tell yourself they're not there. They do exist, but season 1, 2, 3, that is the prime
Interesting.
show. So anyway, what happens in that, it's a super rich family who gets accused of doing some bad financial things, and so all their assets are frozen. So they have a company jet and a stair car to get on the jet, and they have to sell the jet.
They get to keep the car.
But they keep the car. So that's the only car they have to drive around in, and hilarity ensues. So I have a couple of funny quotes
Okay.
about the stair car. Page was upside down. Michael is trying to explain to his son, George Michael, who's learning to drive, about the stair car. He says, stair car basics. In order to get this thing up to a minimum speed, you've got to jam on the gas pedal for about a minute, okay? But in order to slow this thing down, you've got to get almost immediately back on the brake pedal because you've got about 2 tons of stairs behind you. We like that the stair car ends up, it knocks down banners. It's very tall. I think 2 different times they park it next to the wall in a prison, and people use it
Prisoners
to escape.
Yeah,
They climb
so
up
good.
and jump out. People are able to sneak into upstairs windows, and they always talk about how they need to avoid hap-ons.
Oh man,
Oh,
I would
boy.
watch that show again.
Yeah.
There's not many shows I've watched numerous times, but Arrested Development, that's one of them.
It's a good one. So my number 3 favorite pop culture car, the Bluth stair car.
Awesome, Amber, that was such a good one.
Thanks.
My number 3 pop culture car is James Bond's Aston Martin DB5. Now, this we see in Goldfinger, Thunderball, GoldenEye, Tomorrow Never Dies, and Casino Royale and Skyfall.
I had no idea it was the same car.
6 different times, the Aston Martin DB5. And so it's just this... I loved James Bond. When I was growing up, my dad had a friend named Richard, and Richard must have had HBO, and so he had every James Bond movie made up till about, where would that have been, 87, 88, somewhere in there, and usually on a VHS from Richard, there would be 3 movies on it that he'd recorded from HBO, and so sometimes you would have to kind of search around to find the movie that you wanted, but we watched all the James Bonds multiple times, and it's just this classic... I mean, it's just James Bond. He's so awesome.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
a big part of James Bond is his cool demeanor, and part of that cool demeanor is being in a super cool car.
Yeah.
And so apparently Aston Martins are super cool, fancy cars that people that like cars like.
So it's kind of that grayish silver, low to the ground
Yes.
car.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
picturing. I did not know it was the same make or anything. I just figured like, oh, that's a James Bond type car. That's how little of a gearhead I am. I didn't even realize it's the same one.
Yeah, and so you see it's got in the best one with the most gadgets on it is Goldfinger. Goldfinger's
Okay.
such a good movie. It's got machine guns, an oil sprayer. It's got tire shredders. They reach out, shred other people's tires. Very
wow.
cool. Rotating number plates. So is that Aston Martin DB5 following me? No, it's got a different license plate number.
It's a different
Can't be.
one. It's a
Can't
different
be.
Aston Martin.
It's got a tracking system, and it's got an ejector seat.
So who was James Bond in Goldfinger? Was it Pierce Brosnan?
No. Goldfinger was Sean Connery.
Oh, okay.
It's way back.
But it sounds like it did pass to multiple different actors to have the
Yes.
same car.
Yeah,
That's cool
and-
continuity since the actors change.
Yeah, and my favorite James Bond was not the world's favorite James Bond, but Roger Moore. He was the James Bond in kind of my heyday.
A lot of people like him.
Yeah, I like him. maybe, Pierce Brosnan, nobody liked him.
Yeah, I'm the only one.
Yeah, see, we all and I liked him.
We all have our
There
James
is one
Bonds.
where Pierce was in a cello case, like going down a snowy slope because he was trying to save.
There was a lot of
cello
snow.
player. Yeah, there was a lot of snow in that one. So, I guess I don't really have a lot to say about that, but it was a great car.
That's
and it had
for
all
sure
those cool
memorable.
things.
Yeah, I think you had enough to say.
There you go. So my number 3 is James Bond's Aston Martin DB5.
Nice.
Nice.
My number 2, man, I almost made this my number 1. I couldn't decide. But it's my number 2 favorite pop culture car is the Ferrari from Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Nice.
So this was a 1961 Ferrari 250 GT.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
And this was owned by Cameron's dad.
That's right.
So in Ferris Bueller, they skip school and Cameron is homesick. But Ferris convinces him to let him take the car. And this was actually super anxiety-ridden for me. I don't care that much about a fancy car, and I felt really bad for Cameron. So the impact that this car had on me was more negative. I had anxiety through this entire movie about this car. So one of the things that he knew his dad would do is check the odometer because it's a really expensive car. So they had just decided that they wouldn't drive it very far. And maybe his dad wouldn't notice. So they take it into the city. They do all their fun things. And then when they bring it back, they realize that the parking garage where they parked it, the guys went on a joyride and racked up all these miles. And so Cameron's really freaking out. It sounds like the way he's afraid, it sounds like his dad is probably abusive, at least emotionally, if not physically. Seems like he's really scared about how mad his dad's going to be. So I definitely picked up on his anxiety. So they decide to run it in reverse and turn the odometer back. So they kind of put it up on these blocks in Cameron's showroom garage and run it backwards for a really long time. And I think maybe it was working, but really, really slow, or maybe it didn't work at all. And eventually Cameron just gets frustrated by the whole thing, and he starts kicking the car, and he kicks it so hard that it falls off of its blocks, and it's already in reverse really fast, and it just shoots out this glass window and falls into this forest below and is completely totaled. And it was really scary. I did not envy Cameron having to deal with his dad. Yeah. His dad was going to be just as mad about the odometer probably, but...
So we never saw what happened with that encounter?
No. Cameron just decided he was ready to face his dad.
Wow. Good
yeah, that was rough. It made me nervous, but yeah. So
that's great.
Cameron's quote about it was the 1961 Ferrari 250 GT California, less than 100 were made. My father spent 3 years restoring this car. It is his love. It is his passion. And then Ferris said, it is his fault he didn't lock the garage. And then later Ferris describes it by saying, it is so choice. If you have the means, I highly recommend picking one up. So, yeah. Big impact on me, that car.
That's great. Well, Amber, my number 2 is also a car from a movie.
Well, good.
Most of them are. Let me just say it was a 1967 Plymouth Belvedere GTX. Name that movie.
That's my number 1 car.
Is it?
Yes.
Tommy Boy?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
I love how similar we are. That's great.
So, all right, good, because I have no notes on this car.
Oh, okay. I've got a few.
I just remember, it's one of those classic car adventures, and you've got Tommy and Richard, and they're trying to save whatever Tommy's dad's business was. And so they're on this trip, and what's fun, right, is because it was all Midwestern, right?
Oh,
They went to Kalamazoo, or they ended up in Flint, and they kind of went all over the place. And so that's kind of it is where we're from, in the Midwest. And the car, at the beginning, Richard has to pick up Tommy from the airport or something. Yeah. And he's got his fully restored car there. Yes. It's perfect condition. And Tommy has a bag of peanut M&Ms or something. And then they end up getting spilled into his car. And
they roll down into the dash.
Down into the dash. And it just kind of sets it up that he loves this car.
Yes.
And as the movie progresses, they're on the road together. It just gets more and more demolished. I love the scene where they have what they think is a dead deer in the back of the car.
So they hit the deer and they feel really bad. And I don't know why they would put it in the back of their car, because they definitely assumed it was dead. They just didn't want to leave it on the side of the road, I guess.
So dumb.
But it was not dead.
Yeah.
It was only stunned. So you hear a noise, and they sort of glance back and don't even register at first that here's this deer sitting up in the back of their car. So they quickly pull over and
That's it. And then there's that great scene where it's after the car is mostly destroyed, and they're changing the radio station back and forth, and they're like, "Oh, that's a stupid song," and that's a
I
stupid
think
song.
that happens earlier, but then when it's fully destroyed, they're both just belting out a song. I don't know.
It is almost fully destroyed. It's not completely destroyed. It's very destroyed at that point.
Okay.
It's right before the hood comes
Yeah,
off
on the highway.
and there's this easy listening
Yes.
station. And they're like, oh, and then it cuts away for a second. And they come back and they're, don't you remember I told you I love you, baby, baby. Oh, so good. And there's something about Chris Farley,
man,
and David Spade. They did so good. And then came Black Sheep after that one. I remember, I'm sure I watched it, but
no, it definitely wasn't. They were trying to get that lightning in the bottle. That one was Tommy Boy again. They're both still funny guys, or were funny guys.
Yeah.
But.
And I used to live in an apartment, as you know, Amber, with my friend Herman.
Yes.
And Herman still goes to church at New Day, and we love him so much. And when we lived together, Herman and I were both single, and we'd hang out. But Herman was in a real funk. He was in a real depression.
I think he'd gone through a breakup or something.
And
he was
sad for a long time.
Yeah.
A long time. We were actually a little bit worried about him. And then one day we come back to the apartment. We come in and Herman is laughing, crying, laughing, watching Tommy Boy. And we're just like, what is going on? And it was like this magic that broke broke the depression. And so I fondly remember that movie.
Tommy Boy without thinking of Herman. I think he said something like, "It's the first time I've been happy in months," or something.
So good.
It's like medicine.
Like I literally just today, before I had made this list, I was at church and I went in to shake somebody's hand, and he brought me in for the hug, and I was like, brothers don't shake hands, brothers got a hug. And he just kind of looked at me like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Like, oh, all right, there you go. So there you go, Amber. What do you got about Tommy Boy?
Oh, you covered a lot of the great parts, but I remember early before the car's in pretty much perfect condition, they're at the gas station, and Tommy backs up to the gas pump with the doors open, and he bends the entire door completely backwards. So the door's open, and it hits like a post, and it bends completely back, so it's up against the car. So he kind of like pushes it shut. Clearly, it's in really bad shape. The hinges are busted, and then he like hurries up and goes and sits in his seat like nothing's wrong. So then Richard comes out and opens the door, and it falls off the car completely. And Tommy Boy's like, "What did you do?"
Richard, what did you do? Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh. And then I rewatched that scene with the hood. That was pretty funny. It just flips up while they're driving down the highway so they can't see anything, and then it finally flips back down. They think they're okay, and then it flips up again, and then there's a semi right there, and
yeah, we need
intense.
to watch that movie again.
Yeah.
That's too good. We should bring Herman and Patty over and watch that movie.
That's a good idea.
Great. So, there you
So
go.
that was my number one. Your number two, my number one, the Plymouth Belvedere from Tommy Boy.
Wow. Okay. Well, here's my number one, Amber.
I can't wait.
Wow. It is. This wasn't even a question. This wasn't even a question. It is Kit
Yes.
from Knight Rider. And that, of course, stands for Knight Industries 2000.
The T's were 2000.
Yeah.
I didn't realize
that. So, and what I did learn was that the voice of Kit was the same guy who was Mr. Feeney in Boy Meets World.
Oh.
Isn't that interesting?
I really can hear that now that you say that, but I don't think I ever remembered that or knew that before.
And so the Kit car was a black 1982 Pontiac Trans Am. And I thought that car was incredible.
Yeah.
And I thought David Hasselhoff was amazing. Like everything about this show was so cool. And so this guy by the name of Glenn Larson was the creator of the show, who I didn't know. But this is interesting. The red light above the front bumper, that whoom, 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 was directly inspired by the Cylon scanners on Battlestar Galactica, a show also created by Larson.
No way.
And I love Battlestar Galactica.
For a long time, we did.
Yeah. Is the sky blue? And this was classic Battlestar.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But we're not here to talk about Battlestar. Is there, what top 5 list could we do where I could talk about Battlestar Galactica?
Like space shows.
Space shows.
How have we not done that?
Yeah, let's
That's
do
a great topic.
Good idea, Amber. All right, let me save that.
Okay.
That's what my number one is going to be. No, it's probably not, but
Yeah, there's a lot to choose from.
there's a lot to choose from. And so I love that scanner eye. And so this show, as far as I could tell, was kind of prescient and ahead of its time in the sense of there's this computer system that can learn and can understand. Alexa, tell me a car joke.
Why was the car running on fumes? Because it kept passing gas.
Alexa.
Come on, inappropriate. We don't like that blue humor here. And so it's...
I don't know that.
Okay.
Yeah, we know.
So and so this car had intelligence. It could search databases. It could do whatever you needed it to do.
And it had a little bit of an attitude.
It had a little bit of an attitude.
I always call him Michael. Michael.
Michael. Yes. And so it's just a cool. And there's a lot of action adventure. I've not probably watched Knight Rider since I was, I don't know, 10 years old or whatever, and
I feel like it's not going to hold up, but
how it held up and like what actually was the show. But in my mind, it was the coolest guy in the coolest car.
Yeah,
and
it was awesome.
It was super
like
awesome.
a semi, they would go in. April, I think, was in there.
Oh yeah, the
April.
semi.
Yeah,
forgot about that.
Yeah, we definitely watched a lot of Knight Rider at my house as well.
Yeah, and I'd love to buy a black Trans Am. That'd be fun.
Yeah,
I bet you could buy it. That they sold during that time
sure.
that they sold some sort of like LED or whatever
I'm sure
they had.
Still do. You could put one on your current car.
That would be so awesome. All right, let me Google that.
Sonic, look up blah blah blah, and I would say yes, Mark.
Yes, Mark. Anyway, so there you go, Amber. There's my number one Kit Knight Industries 2000.
Well, that was fun. So
And
even not being supercar people, we still were pretty impacted by cars and pop culture.
So and it just makes me think that our listeners out there also have lists of cars that they loved from pop culture growing up or currently, and they're thinking, oh, I can't believe you forgot this one. We would love to hear your feedback. What cars did you love, from cartoons or video games or movies or what have you? What cars did we miss?
Yeah, we want to know.
We want to know. Segment 2, Cool Car Quotes Quiz.
Kind of alliteration.
I like
two
it.
Q's, two Q's.
Cool Car Quotes Quiz. Cool Car Quotes Quiz.
So I was trying to think of what Mark could do for a quiz, because he's the quiz maker. And
the quiz master.
I know the quiz master, and I know how much he enjoyed Gutenberg versus Gutenberg.
Oh, one of my favorites.
And The Rock or The Rock.
Yeah, I think those would have been funnier if they worked, but maybe the fact that they didn't quite work.
Well, this might be similar. I don't know.
Perfect.
So I was trying to think of what we could do that's similar to that, and I came up with, we want to know who said these quotes. Was it Lightning McQueen of the Pixar Cars franchise or Dominic Toretto of the Fast and Furious franchise?
Okay. Here's my background on these two movies, Amber. Never seen Cars.
No, we saw fractions of it while we were up north.
That was Cars 2.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't say which Cars movie. I just said Lightning McQueen.
Okay.
You've seen Lightning McQueen talk.
If you guys could have seen the look that Amber gave me when she said, okay, you probably would have called some sort of a marriage counselor and sent them over here. And I'm not sure. It was a startling reaction. Startling.
I just felt like that's what made it okay, is that we have seen parts of a Cars movie very recently, so you kind of know what Lightning McQueen's voice is like.
Even if I didn't, I can feel, I can sense who Lightning McQueen is.
Wow.
Like just from pop culture.
Okay.
Just from the existence of things. And then Dominic Toretto. Obviously, I've seen Fast and the Furious 5, 6, 7, and 8, or 6, 7, and 8.
5. We started with 5.
5, 6, 7. I don't know if there is an 8.
I don't know yet.
Fate. I don't know. Yeah, Fate of the Furious 8. F8. Yeah.
F8.
So anyway, so I've seen many of them. So I feel like I have a sense of him, but I've not seen all of them.
True. And a lot of these quotes might have come from early ones.
That's fine, because I can sense him.
Yeah. So I was just going to say, was the quote from Fast and the Furious or was it from Cars in
Great.
general? But then I thought, no, because a lot of the quotes that are on the internet for Cars are Mater, who is Jeff Foxworthy.
And we hate Mater.
No, we like him, but it's pretty obvious that he's not from the Fast and the Furious, the way that he's talking.
Gotcha.
So then I thought, who's the most Fast and the Furious car? It's Lightning McQueen.
Obviously.
Who's the most Lightning McQueen person in the Fast and the Furious? It's Dominic Toretto.
Correct.
That
Okay,
is
I'm
Vin
gonna,
Diesel. Okay,
okay, great. I'm ready. How many questions have we got here?
19.
Wow.
We'll just do them really fast.
Amber does not mess. When Amber makes a quiz, it's a good hour and a half of recording.
We don't have to do them all if it doesn't work. You can edit out the part where I said how many. All right, first one.
Uh-huh.
You almost had me. You never had me.
That is, I'm going to say that is Dominic Toretto.
That's correct.
Yes. I almost went the other way with
Yeah,
that one.
it feels like it could go either way. All right. Ask any racer, any real racer. It don't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning's winning.
I'm going to say again, Dominic.
You're right.
Whoa.
Next one. Speed. I am speed. 1 winner, 42 losers.
That's got to be Lightning McQueen.
You're right again.
Okay, man, I'm doing good so
you
far.
are. This might be too easy. Next one. I am faster than fast, quicker than quick. I am lightning.
Is that Lightning McQueen? He says he's lightning?
Yep. I thought you might overthink that one, but
Oh.
no. I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
Boy, that seems oh, man. Would a cartoon character say, I live my life a quarter mile at a time? Would an actual movie character say that?
Who would say that? and
Nobody
why?
would say that. I'll go with Lightning McQueen.
That one was Dominic.
Okay.
I don't know how or why.
We didn't see that. I don't think we saw that one.
No,
but
no.
most of the dialogue in Fast and the Furious movies is forgettable for me.
Yeah. It's all intense one-liners.
Yeah. Like, I live my life 1/4 mile at a time.
Yeah. All right. No, 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 no. No tires, just gas.
Lightning McQueen.
Yes.
Okay. That had kind of a cartoony feel to it.
Yeah, it did kind of.
Maybe
Yo-
it was just the way you said it.
Yeah. I need to be careful with my... I could use my auctioneer voice to say each one, and then they'll all sound the same. All right. Yo, Einstein, take it upstairs. You can't detail a car with the cover on.
What? Can't detail a car with the cover on. Dominic.
Yes.
Yes.
I have faith in you, but this isn't a junkyard. This is a garage.
Well, that one could go either way. I have faith in you. I'm going to say Lightning McQueen.
That's Dominic.
Whoa. You got me on that one.
Oh, good.
Oh,
I
good.
can't want them all to just be right.
I know. That's how I feel when I make every quiz.
All right. I hate rusty cars. This is not good for my image.
So if Lightning said that, that means he's with somebody that's a rusty car. Could it be with Mater? And then, I don't know. Is he that? I don't know what kind of. I don't know what his attitude is. I can see Dominic driving around in a rusty car, and he also wouldn't like it. It's a coin flip for me. Can you read it one more time for me?
I hate rusty cars. This is not good for my image.
I'm gonna say Dominic
It's
Toretto.
Lightning.
Ah,
Yeah.
it was Mater. It must
Yeah.
be he's talking about Mater.
I guess so.
I don't know. Okay.
I said a 10-second car, not a 10-minute car. I don't know what that means. I don't know.
That sounds stupid, so I'm gonna say it was Dominic Toretto.
It is. I got to finish this road, and I have to get out of here.
I gotta finish this road. I have no idea what that even means. Dominic Toretto.
No, that's Lightning, but
Come
I feel
on.
like you could for sure hear Dominic say that.
Okay. I've started to get them muddled in my
I know.
mind somehow.
They're
Okay.
basically the same
They're the
person, same creature.
Okay.
What's wrong with my fenders? I thought you liked my fenders.
It's got to be Lightning McQueen.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm one of those boys who appreciates a fine body, regardless of the make.
It's got to be Dominic.
Yeah,
Is he talking about Letty?
probably.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you like to come see the world with me?
I'm gonna say Dominic Toretto.
That's Lightning.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I guess they did travel the world in Cars too, from
Yeah, we saw
what I
that.
picked up in the at the
There's a great scene, if you haven't seen Cars 2, where there's a car that goes onto a bidet, a car bidet in Japan. It was pretty funny. Okay. We only have 5 left.
How am I doing?
You've gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wrong out of 14.
Wow,
You're doing great.
Doing really good. So I've won.
Yeah. Next one, I made a mistake, but I can assure you it won't happen again.
Dominic Toretto.
Lightning McQueen.
No way.
Yeah. You wouldn't think Lightning makes mistakes.
I didn't think Dominic made mistakes.
Oh, good point. You don't turn your back on family, even when they do.
Dominic.
Yeah.
I know enough about the show
Yeah.
that it's about
If
family.
it's family. You've got the best crew in the world standing right in front of you. Give them a reason to stay.
Dominic.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I'll see you at the finish line, buddy.
I could go either way. Lightning McQueen.
Yes. Last one. I don't have friends. I got family.
Dominic Toretto.
You're right.
I don't have friends. I have family.
6. So you got 13 out of 19, right? That's
wow,
pretty good.
Man. Listeners, how'd you do in that great quiz? Amber, that was a great quiz.
I mean, there's a lot that could go either way.
There, absolutely. Almost all of them could go either way. So that was so fun. Amber, thanks for putting that quiz together.
Oh, you're welcome.
Amber did so much work for this episode. Good
Aw.
job, baby. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We would love to hear from you. Leave feedback about this episode on Twitter or Facebook. You can send it to segmentscast@gmail.com. We would just love to know, what are some of the car things that you like, that you talked about? How'd you do on that great quiz with Dominic Toretto? Just whatever you want to say. How much you hate Harry Potter, how much you love Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Either of those, we take it all.
Yep. We'd appreciate it if you look up and subscribe on your podcast player on your phone. If you don't know how to do that and you run into one of us, maybe we can help you out. But we like to have subscribers. That means that every time a new episode comes out, it's just, boom, automatically right there in your
Boom.
phone. And you can listen to it while you're cleaning, doing the laundry, doing the dishes, driving around, taking a walk.
Jogging.
Yep. You can just sit around and listen to it like a old-timey news show by the fire.
Exactly. Any way you like it. Any way you want it, that's the way you do it. So we want to say thank you to Emma for the logo and graphics, and we also want to say happy birthday. She's turning 21 this
Yay,
week.
wow.
That's pretty awesome. And if you would like her to draw you something, you can contact her through our email, segmentscast@gmail.com.
And thank you to Gabriel, EDM Samurai, for our intro and outro music. You can find him on SoundCloud under EDM Samurai.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us for this awesome car episode.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything funny to say.
Man.
Something roomy.
Vroom, vroom.
Is that it?
No, not funny enough.
There'll be no presses charged. There'll be no presses charged.